This is the diagram for the plug to the digital gauge. Let's see if it differs from what I found. There is no black and yellow. There is no, in the center, green and white. This is what I mapped out. Went over it and mapped it out little by little to make sure that it was wired properly to the paperwork. There were some differences here in this middle area here. On the paperwork they gave me, the colors didn't match, and I'm guessing this one is my tachometer. This one shows another line. I don't have one in there. So I went ahead and mapped it out for myself. I didn't trust the paperwork, and in the process of looking online, I did find a link with the exact match. I'll put it in there and I'll post a photo. So you guys can go by it instead of looking at my beautiful drawing here. Let's see what we got. Take the alternative power, watch the gauge. I hit here. Boom, look there. There's my one signal. Here's my other signal. And right in the middle is my right light. So that's kind of nice. So we'll stick that back in there. And if you take a negative neutral ground, and if you look at my fuel gauge, if I stick this right in here, it should, well, I say that, there it is. You notice the gauge, it'll probably slowly go upward. If I do that and ground out the fuel gauge, it will just do that. It'll quit flashing. Once it gets to full, it'll hold. Hey, I know this looks a little intimidating, but let me kind of explain things to you. All I did was just put a zip tie and throw it over here and get this out of the way. So you can ignore that. And then what I have here is I have grounded my little tester. This is for 12 volts. And as I was saying, this is when I pulled out the cluster, this is the attachment here. And I checked all of these and seen where they went. They're marked perfect. This is what I'll be actually deleting and putting that other piece together with. But what I really wanted to show you was, here's the ignition, and if you turn on the ignition, you can go to this black wire right here, and you should be able to get power if I'm making good contact, or if I put it in the right spot. How about that? There we go. But yeah, so there's my ignition, and just to show you. But if you come over here, I was looking around, and of course the ignition has power going up in here, and I traced this line coming out of the ignition here. It's 4 wires, and of course the red is hot, so I checked that. And that is exactly, in this little 4-wire spot, is where I'll be tying in my constant power to my ignition. To my cluster. So it's also the place you want this red wire, or under here, that you'll want to tie in for like your USB. You know, if you want constant power. If you don't want constant power, then you'll want to go off the ignition part, which I showed you how to do that. You know, that can be done at this point here in the black wire. But we'll go ahead and swap those out and plug it in. I want to take this bracket here. This is the bracket that it came with. And I'm pretty good at cutting and grinding. I'm going to take it off and make it fit, hopefully. And we'll see. It may not work, but we're going to try to use this bracket to get it mounted back up. All right, I'll show you in a little bit what we've got. Well, it's been a few days. I put the bike on hold for a little bit. Had to finish out the work week. Back now. It's a fresh new day. Let's go ahead and get started on this wire job. Had to do a little bit of that off camera because one, old eyes, and two, the camera was in the way. And this is my ignition wire, so I wanted to make sure that it was done properly. Okay guys, if you remember this wire here, that is my ignition wire. So what I'm going to do is tie that in. Take one of these splicers, get it in there nice and straight, like that. Make sure that it's going to pinch on the other side. Get it in the right position. Raise that up. Take my ignition wire jumper that I just made. Pull that aluminum up. Come on. It's nice that they gave me a little window on this side to see what's up. There we go. Make sure that both lines are lined up. Should do it. Boom, we're tied in. I love these little things. So there we go. So I showed you how that actually made my accessories. Well, if you look down here, I didn't want to bore you to death. I did these. Okay? Okay. The blue and white wire right here was my fuel line. Well, I had to pull the neutral wire, which is red and green, off of this one. This is all of my gearing, all 5 gears in neutral. Well, I cut the neutral, which is red and green, and I brought it over to this plug, and I tied it into where the fuel gauge is because I don't have a fuel gauge, so this blue and white fuel gauge line will get grounded out just to prevent it from flashing, boom, boom, boom. And if I need to, I can actually hook it up later if I do find a way to put a gas tank with a fuel gauge in there. But yeah, I just snipped the blue and white one, and then I used another splicer, and I spliced my red and green, which is my neutral wire, to my bike, and my bike right here, that red and green is the neutral wire. This is the neutral wire coming off of this stack, and I'm just going to tie it in there. Now what I do have is one that I couldn't test, and that is the blue and yellow, and that is the tachometer. So I'll mess with that here in a minute, but right now I want to show you what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and just slide it slightly over there, and I'm just going to watch my pattern. Okay, back where I was. Okay, so we're going to do the light blue in this top corner, just like that. Beautiful, and it's locked in. And you get the idea. I'm just going to follow it all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and knock this out, but I wanted to show you guys a little way to make sure that you get it right, because I'm going to need both. There it goes, clicks right in. I'm going to need both hands to do this, and all the dexterity I can muster up. It's hard to kind of watch what I've got going on, but I'll get this wired in, but you get the idea. Should be good to go, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap this right here up a little bit, and I'm going to wrap over there by the coil. I'm going to wrap the red thing too, because it just helps hold it, and plus it'll keep moisture and dirt out. So okay guys, I just want to give you an idea of what's going on here. So I went to take this bracket, and it goes like that, modify it to make it fit this. Well, the problem was is I could get it between this. There were two of them. Two of these little standoffs. One here and one here to hold your front bracket on for your headlight. I could get it between there, but it was sitting off center on the bike, so I had to essentially shift everything to this point right here, being center with the the neck of the bike. Well, when I did that, it got into my bracket that holds. I tried to go high and it didn't work, and it knocked it out. So I had to cut out around here. Basically, my second attempt to center it, I basically butchered the bracket, leaving only this one hole. The bracket's going to be difficult to manufacture, period. But I tried different things. I had it further up in there, and I had it further up right there. You can see they still fit, kinda. Had that up there and further in there, but it was still not right. It was a little crooked and it was over to the side. So once I figured out I needed to center it, I came up with that. Well, the bracket's all chewed, or is it? Nah. I figured I could fix that. So what I did was I came in and I took a piece of metal and I kept fitting and fitting till I got what I wanted. Now I have a piece of metal like this, and it's center. That's going to hold it center, but it's thin. It's okay, because what it actually is going to be is a skin for this one. Where'd it go? So it's just like, oh, wrong side. My bad. Let's see. Let me figure this out, guys. There it is. It's a skin for this one. So what I did was I just still made the bracket. It's going to look great when it's done. I'll clean this and get it level. But I'm going to spray paint it. I knocked off the paint on these two sides, and I'm going to glue it with adhesive, indoor, outdoor, automotive, high heat adhesive that I have. And then I'm going to glue it, and then what I'll do is I'll paint it, and then when these bolt down, it'll of course bolt there, and then I'll use a washer there and there, so it'll be good. But yeah, it's been no fun task getting this center, but we're making progress. You just got to realize you're going to have to take your time on this. Right here, I'm going to start making the sensor holder. This is a piece of the frame that the bike came crated in. Gonna go ahead and look down here and see if I can mark it and match it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get going on this. This is a little lower than I want, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and tap this, see if I can raise it up one notch and get it behind this. So yeah, mounted the sensor, built me a little bit of a guard, I guess you'd say, on it. It's got a little protective angle. I wanted to get it behind the, the shock there, and zip tied it inward so nothing would be hanging out. There's a little here, but hopefully we'll get lucky and it won't grab anything. The tires back on. Here's one of the magnet sensors. Opposite of that is the other one. They're in there. That was yet another challenge. This whole thing's been kind of a challenge. This is all wired, ready to go. So let's go put the cluster on and check out what we got going here. Okay, so I put the tank on and fired it up, and sure enough, my RPMs weren't working. I couldn't see what range I was running. So I came back to the coil, and it said put it on the neutral side. Everybody knows to put it on the neutral side. Green I thought was neutral. come to find out, it's this little black wire right there. If you see, there's this plug right here. I stuck it in there and the RPMs came on. So I went ahead and taped off where I previously did my splice and just moved the clip up to here. And now it's up and running. So if you do have this bike and you're going to install this, make sure you get the right neutral wire on the coil, or you're just spitting in the wind. There we go, I got it mounted. Had to bend the bracket a little bit. It is definitely solid. Now we're going to go ahead, moment of truth. We're going to plug in the system. All right, got the thing completely hooked up. We go ahead and turn the key. Went ahead and showed the blue. For some reason, blue shows up better in the camera, but there's your blinkers. Let's do bright light. There's my headlights. RPM, you'll see that when it starts up. Right now we're going to go ahead and take it out for a ride and show you how to program the speedometer on this thing. Okay guys, let's go over the programming to this thing. What you do is you press down on the button and then turn on the ignition. Should pop up. Okay, right here is the actual setting. I don't know if you can see that too well, but yeah, so this is what my speedometer is actually set to. I've already set it, but let me show you what it came with stock. If I hold this button down, okay, the 0 flashes. Long hold again, then the 1 flashes. This actually, then I can individually do it. This actually came at 42 on the setting, so we'll go ahead and go to 42 and show you what it was like. Okay, that's what the speedometer it actually showed up with. That 1 and 5 is actually oil. I don't really use that, so I'm going to leave it at 1. And the 2 and the 4 is cylinders. 2 equals a single cylinder, 4 equals multiple cylinder. Make sure that I can... Now I'm going to hold that down and long press it and it'll lock in. Okay, let's go ahead and see what it does. Actual speed, 16. Speedometer's reading 6. See that? That is actually half. So let's go ahead and reset it. Get the shade here. Maybe. Long press. There's my 4. So let's bring it to 2. And then long press. Bring it to 1. Okay, and long press. Long press again. Long press again. Boom. Okay, so that's half. Let's look at it. Definitely closer. Still lagging behind, 2 miles an hour off. Okay. So you can see what it's like. That was still off. Let's flip it around. Okay. Squeaky in the brake. There we go. Okay, so you know I've already figured it out, so let's go ahead and go to 17. Okay, hold it till it goes back. There we are. Let's see what we got now. For 21. I noticed that the speedometer actually comes up a little quicker than the GPS, just a hair quicker, which is just fine because there may be a lag. For 22, 23, 23. There you have it. Front brake's a little squeaky. Well, there you guys have it. Looks to me to be good. All right. What do I think? I think I like it a lot. It's a nice cluster. It looks nice, easy to read. And tell me what you think. Leave comments below.
Shut up and sit down.